Peace. I just wanted to take a second to build, because I get inquiries all the time from people that want to know how to become involved in the community, how to start your own mentorship programs and be involved with, the growth and development of the youth in your city and everything. And the first thing I wanted to say is, when you hear phrases like going out into the community, working with the community, it kind of comes across as if a person is like on a field trip or something, or they're visiting. If that is your community, then that's nothing that you're going out into. You live there, you're a part of that. And a community is an extension of your family. And the same type of love, consideration, and concern that you have for your family members, that has to be extended also to your greater family, which represents your community. Now, one way that I started off, I've been working in recreational facilities and things like that ever since I was in high school. One thing that I mentioned in one of my other bills is that my old Earth, she directed a youth center at one point in her life. I have an older sibling, and he worked with the youth all the time. And one thing that I noticed is that they had it in their heart to do it. And a lot of the work that they did was voluntary. They also worked in that capacity as well as me working in that capacity. But a lot of the things that I noticed that they did were voluntary, and, like I said, I worked in those facilities throughout high school. I left and I went to college. And, I learned a little bit more about how to operate, direct, and work within recreational facilities and things of that nature. And when I came back into this environment, I started to do things on my own. I was proactive. And what I mean by that is the youth centers that I used to work at prior to me leaving to go to college, I went back to those facilities and just asked, could I volunteer? One in particular, I started my own after-school mentorship program. And I talked to the director of the youth facility, and I told him that I was interested in coming in and at least spending a minimum of 1 day a week and just, spending time with the youth, sharing some things that I learned along the way. And I did that consistently. That's the key word. Don't get involved in something like this if you're not going to be consistent, So what I did is, whether it was rain, sleet, or snow, I made sure I showed up every Wednesday after school and started volunteering. In conjunction with me doing that, I started to also attend different type of community forums, political events, and things of that nature in my city so that I could start networking with other people. Once I started networking with other people, I had something to bring to the table and to communicate with them about, because this is something that I was doing. Not something I was just getting paid to do, but something that I had in my heart to do on a voluntary basis consistently. So that looks a certain way in the eyes of people who have the opportunity to open doors for you. So while I was doing that, networking, getting to meet other different people, also volunteering, doing my own mentorship program, I was also setting aside time to do forums for the community at my public library. So what I would do is I would reserve the meeting room or the auditorium and things like that. I would show videos. I would have study classes, and I would make sure I would do this too consistently twice a month. So through that, I started to develop the credentials and pay those actual dues to get me in different arenas to start communicating with other people. So when people started to see the value in what I was willing to do on my own, it was easy for them to see the value in giving me an opportunity to extend a lot of the things that I do. So, a lot of y'all, what it takes is just being proactive. Find a facility in your community and just go there and just let them know that you want to just help. It doesn't matter if you go there and say, can I help? You need help changing garbages. You may want to go there and play foosball with some of the youth there, or play pool, or, anything. Just be present is the key. To be present and to be there and to be consistent. From that, allows you to develop the platform to establish the type of relationships with the youth, as well as in your community, that's necessary for you to start doing greater things. But you have to start somewhere. And the start begins with you being proactive and just making yourself available as a helper, you know. And I know a lot of people that may sound foreign to them because, you know, people think along the lines of what's in it for me all the time. But sometimes you have to build, like I said, the platform to establish the proper relationships. And this is what I got to say, too. A lot of times people start getting knowledge of self and you start learning and you start knowing so much, you think that teaching means talking. You know, that whenever you come into an environment or you're around people that may not know, well, you really don't know what they know, that you got to start running off the mouth and telling them what they need to know and what they need to learn. If you're going to go into certain recreational facilities or organizations or to be amongst different people, remember the mentality and the mindset of a student, because you're learning from other people and you can't presume what they know or don't know unless you humble yourself enough to listen, to find out what their actual needs are. You know, so if you go into a recreational facility and you want to just help out, you may just be there changing garbages. You will get an opportunity to meet people and to introduce yourself and to have conversations and stuff like that, which can eventually elevate to building with them. But you got to go in there with that sense of respect, that sense of humility, and that sense of sobriety, because you can't trespass against people, or you can't go into an environment being presumptuous about what they need to know about this, that, and the third. You got to listen to really assess what people's needs are, if they have any needs, outside of what you actually presume them to be. So you got to do a lot of listening. You got to do the knowledge, like we say. So, you know, it starts somewhere, and if you want to get somewhere, you got to start by just making yourself available, being present, and being consistent. And if you just follow those simple tips that I just gave you right there, then you will see yourself within no time being in a position where you could positively affect the lives of those who are around you within your community. Not going to your community, not going out into the community, but making those changes right then and there. So I hope that was beneficial. And like I said, with all of my builds, don't just listen to what I got to say or just believe what I got to say. Put it into practical application to see what the actual results will be. That's how you will know whether or not something is really productive or constructive, or if it's non-productive and destructive. You know, put it into practice. Put those theories to test. So with that being said, you know, go out there, get something done, and just be available to the people. Everything else will take its proper course after that. Peace.